Welcome to Pathways to Purpose, the practicum of business podcast series, where we dive into the journeys, challenges, and insights that shape future leaders and entrepreneurs. We are,
Felipe Contreras.
I'm Steve Morales, and this is our guest, Mr. Trevor Freeman.
Hi.
Okay. each episode will explore the many ways people are turning their passions into careers and finding their purpose in the world of business and many other industries. This podcast is proudly recorded and produced by Modoc Media, La Vega High School's very own student-led AV team. A big thank you to them for making this series possible. So whether you're a student, aspiring entrepreneur, or just curious about the pathways to success, stay tuned as we uncover the stories behind the grind. Let's get started.
All right,
So
Hey guys. How are y'all?
Doing good for me.
Great.
Yeah.
You feel
So-
good?
I'm great.
Nervous?
A little.
A little bit.
Yeah, I'm scared.
All right.
I'm shaking
So,
right now.
For people who might not know who you are, can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Absolutely. Hello, I'm Mr. Freeman, the best math teacher at La Vega High School,
Okay.
according to me. Yep. I am math teacher at La Vega High School. Currently this year I teach math models and geometry. I'm one of the barbecue coaches for the La Vega Barbecue Club team thing. I'm a dad of 3 boys and a husband and an avid disc golfer, and I play guitar, and I've beat a bunch of students at La Vega High School in chess.
Okay.
So, especially these two.
Once.
A lot.
Which once?
A couple more than once.
Okay, chill. What inspired you to pursue a career in teaching?
I didn't. So no, actually, after high school, I went and got my associate's degree at TSTC for land surveying, which is like mapping in the construction field, right? And so after that, I went and pursued a bachelor's degree at A&M Corpus Christi. Got my bachelor's, and then I got a job surveying, right? And then right after that was like COVID and stuff, and so that really sucked because, right, just graduated, first job, low man on the totem pole, and basically what had happened was, with surveying and mapping, we do a lot of oil and gas work, and when COVID had happened, our largest oil and gas client actually went bankrupt. So they shorted us like $10 million. And so business is business and no hard feelings, right? But I actually got let go. And so, I got laid off during the height of COVID. And my wife was 7 or 8 months pregnant at the time. And you're just like, what the heck is going to happen? I don't know what's going to happen. But anyway, the Lord provided. He took care of us. And I had some people at church actually say, hey, Mr. Freeman, we think that you should get into teaching. I was like, no, I'm not going to be a teacher. I couldn't do it. That's not for me. That's not for me. And then we kept talking about it, and I was like, well, maybe I'll try it for a year, right? I need something. I just got laid off. I need something. I got to work. And so anyway, my first job was over at Riesel High School. I was a math teacher over there, and it was fantastic. The rest is history. I'm here. I'm doing what I love. I love showing up to school every day. Love hanging out with cool students that are really bad at chess, and, being a mentor, coach, teacher, all that stuff. And yeah, the rest is history.
Still gotta add on. Do you think you still would have been there if none of that COVID stuff happened?
Honestly, probably not. That's a good question. When I was in college, the career that I chose was actually, like I said, land surveying. You're sitting behind a computer drafting on AutoCAD, and you're outside, measuring. We use GPS and drones and all that stuff, right, to measure and make maps. But honestly, probably not, because whenever I graduated and got this job, so much of it was behind the computer that it was killing me. Like, you guys know me, right? Like, I love to talk and joke and play around, right? I'm a very social person. And sitting behind a computer for like 8-10 hours a day was killing me, like absolutely killing me. And I was actually already looking for different jobs before I got laid off, about a month before I got laid off. I would sit there on my lunch break and like scroll through Indeed, like, man, this sucks. I got to do something different. And I got laid off, which again, at the time is like, oh my goodness, this is the worst thing in the world. What's going to happen to me and my family? But has since turned into such a blessing, right? Again, the Lord took care of me and my family, and here we are, 5-6 years later in education, and I love it. I'm from La Vega High School, graduated in 2015, back here teaching the same kids, that families and little brothers and sisters and cousins and stuff like that. And so, yeah, I don't want to be any other place than here. So,
And as you did mention that you were in the barbecue team, so or you are, so what led you to join, and how did that come about?
we started the barbecue team about 2 years ago. It actually came from our after school program we were doing with our T class funds that we got. So we started, and there was a handful of us coaches, and it since is just you know built into something so much bigger than we thought it could be. There's so many students that are interested, involved, and we do so many different things now, and it's become one of the largest, or if the largest, after school club, here at La Vega High School. We had talked about, for those of you that don't know, we had talked about an after school chess club. But who is going to stay after school for an after school chess club?
I would.
Like, no, I don't think. I think you all would say you would, but then you wouldn't, right? Like, hey, mom, I'm going to stay after school to play chess. Like, who's going to do that? No one's going to do that. But anyway, yeah. The barbecue team has since, just mounted and grown into something so much larger, and it's fantastic to see what we can do for the community and everything like that. So it's been great.
Speaking of the barbecue team, how did you feel making the state last year?
Pretty good. So we've only been involved with it for 2 years. This is the beginning of our third year, and the first year that we competed, there's all the regional competitions you do, but then there's state, and then there's nationals, right? So at state last year, there was about 50 teams that made it to state and were competing, and they took the top 25, right? So roughly 50%. I'm a numbers guy, right? Math guy. Roughly 50%. This last year, there were like 90 something teams that competed at state, but again, they're only taking the top 25.
Yeah.
So we went from a 50% chance to make it to almost a 25% chance to make it, like almost cut, our chances in half, right? And thankfully, our kids cooked, competed, kicked some butt, and we qualified from state to go to nationals. But the barbecue sport is growing. I was actually just looking in one of the barbecue club chats earlier this morning, and the guy that kind of owns the association actually said that there's 2 other countries that are looking at joining the association. So now we'll have state level, and then national level, and then international level high school barbecue, which is kind of crazy. So yeah, very cool.
Were you satisfied with your placement at nationals, or do you think you could have done better?
We definitely could have done better. The thing is, I don't want to like critique too much, because nobody's perfect, right? At the end of the day. But there were some things that happened that, it's just one of those things. It is what it is. We'll have to try again next year. We got a rough start. There was a rain delay, but then the rain moved on, and we didn't know that the start time, they told us the start time was pushed back a little bit. Well, then it wasn't. It was just, one of those things. It just is what it is. So we're definitely looking forward to this year, though. We've got a great team assembled. We have a bunch of really, really good students, this year, and so we are definitely excited to grow, and definitely try and come home with some hardware this year. So maybe some sweet chains or something. I don't know.
Do you plan to go back to state?
Yeah. Oh no. Yeah. Absolutely. That is the plan. Yes.
Nationals as well.
That is also the plan.
Okay,
Yes,
so
to
nice
go
plan.
to this year nationals. So okay, so the first year we competed, nationals was here in Texas, so we didn't really have to travel. Last year nationals was in Branson, Missouri, so we had to drive like long, was it like 8, 10, 12 hours, something like that. I don't know. I think it's like 8 or 9 hours. This year, nationals is actually in Kansas City, Kansas, which is still way up north. So will be quite a drive if we qualify. So, but yeah, it's been really cool. To get to go to different places with kids and everything. And again, what a blessing to get to do what I love every single day. So.
And you did say you went here to La Vega. So
Mm-hmm.
how has it changed from when you were a student to now?
Oh my gosh, it's changed drastically. First of all, you've got such, cooler math teachers now. than whenever I was in high school,
Sure.
talking about myself. But anyway, yeah, the ability. So when I was in high school, we had like, pre-AP stuff classes, and there was some things like that. But oh my gosh, whenever I first came here, like my first year, and then they were like, "Oh yeah, we got kids graduating with their associate's degrees." Like before they graduate from high school, like with their high school diploma, like what the heck? Like if I would have had that, when I was in high school,
Mhm.
how much further down the road I'd be, especially all the things the school does for their kids, being able to help pay and everything for these classes. Like, oh my gosh, what a huge blessing. Yeah, I would say that is a huge difference. I mean, geez, you can graduate high school with a 2-year associate's degree. That's crazy. But yeah, there's been a lot of positive movement here at La Vega High School, in the district as a whole. So
How does the football team today compare to the one back in your day?
back in the day, we was some dogs. All right, we was those guys. All right. No, I mean it's different. Like, um, whenever I came back to La Vega and first learned about like Modoc Media, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, oh my gosh, how cool is that to have? You have your athletes, right? But then now you have this massive support system behind them that are making these incredible productions, with the Jumbotron and all of the advertisements and schedule and the live stream. Like, oh my gosh, it's like making kids feel like superstars now. Like, but if I had that back in the day, I'd feel like 10 times cooler than I feel now. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I interviewed with Waco Trib and the news station and stuff like that, but like, no, this is way cooler now to have all these productions, So shout out to the Modoc Media Department for all the stuff that they do. Very cool.
And then you did play football back in the day. So, like, was coaching ever in your plans, or was there a reason you chose a different path?
So I had played essentially 4 years of varsity football on offensive line. Um, so I knew our offense, in and out, and I could play any position, right? Because I was smart. I wasn't like a big dummy, right? So I could pretty much do anything on the offensive line that the coaches needed me to do. Um, when I had graduated, somewhere around that time, Coach Coleman, who was our head offensive line coach at the time, was going through some health issues and stuff, and I believe had open heart surgery or a stent or something put in. I don't know, but he was going to be out for several weeks, right? Because it's a major surgery. So I had texted with Coach Williams, our head athletic director, and Coach Massington, who was our other offensive line coach at the time, and offered my help, right, for
Mm-hmm.
that season. And this again was the season right after I had graduated. Because again, I knew the offensive line in and out, and I knew everything we ran. It was all the same guys. I still knew. I knew what they were gonna do and everything. So I offered to help. And so Coach Williams said, "Yeah, come on, let's go." And so I mean that was the season that we went to the state championship, won state. We had a fantastic offensive line that year, a whole bunch of athletes, fantastic coaching staff, and so I was happy that I was able to go from the athlete side of it the very next year to the coaching side of it to be able to help. And I was very thankful and blessed that the coaching staff like Coach Williams, Coach Massington, Coach Coleman, they trusted me, right? Because again, I wasn't just like a knucklehead that, I play football, like I knew what was happening, right? So to be able to be in that position to help out, to be trusted, and to run some of the the practices and the drills and stuff that we did. And even on Friday nights, right? We're watching our guys, we're watching our five down there in the trenches doing what they're supposed to be doing. If little Timmy is blocking to the left when he's supposed to be blocking to the right, if he's getting blowed up every play, then okay, we probably need to change our offense up, instead of running to the right or running to the left, I mean, so yeah, I mean, it was a huge blessing to be able to do that. It did, and again, going back to the college thing, it did make me kind of question if I still wanted to pursue, TSTC and A&M Corpus Christi for land surveying. Um, but again, at the time, I could make much more money doing the land surveying thing than being a teacher or a coach. But now on this side of it, sitting behind a desk all day at a computer was killing me, which sucked. So, if yeah, I mean, if I would have had the knowledge I had now, back then, I'd probably have been a teacher and coach much sooner. So,
Speaking of football, because our homecoming just passed,
hmm
and I heard that when your homecoming, you were nominee
oh
from
yeah,
homecoming king.
oh yeah.
How did it feel?
Oh, like I said, I was that dog. All right, had that guy. I was that guy. I had that dog in me. Yeah, it was really funny actually. So I was nominated for homecoming king, and so we ran. At the time, we didn't have like the underclassmen
Mhm.
that could do, like the prince and princess and stuff like that. It was just only the seniors, right?
Mhm.
So it was me and a handful of other guys, right? I was the only fat white guy that got nominated to be the homecoming king. But you also have to remember I was really cool, right? So anyway, um, I had actually cut out fake beards out of felt and put elastic on them and passed them out at school. I had HEB bags and I handed them to my buddies. They had like 20, 30 beards in each HEB bag. They were passing them out to everybody. Everybody's wearing beards in the hallway because I had my beard in high school, right? And so that's how we campaigned. We said, "Don't be weird, vote beauty in the beard." It was pretty
Oh,
funny. And then my mommy, shout out to her. My mom actually called the news station and then said, "Hey, my son is running for homecoming king, and his beard is how they're running." And so yeah, I actually had a news clip of me on the news. I think it was News Channel 25 or something. And they're like, "Hey, here's a local high school senior running for homecoming with his beard." And I was like, "Yeah, I got interviewed. It's sick.
We gotta
We
find that
won.
clip.
We
we gotta
won.
find
Yeah,
that
We gotta
clip.
find
We
that
gotta
clip.
find that
yeah.
clip.
I might can send it to you. We'll see about that.
Are you happy with where your career has taken you so far?
No, no, I'm kidding. Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's awesome. Yeah. Of course, you always have to have a goal in life. Whenever I graduated from college, it was like, oh, I took a breath and I was like, okay, finally, the race is over. I'm done. But at the time, the race wasn't over. I wasn't done because there was still a test I needed to take, a state mandated test to become a surveyor. Well, when I was done with college, I was just like, oh man, I'm done. I've got all this weight off my shoulders. And that actually kind of screwed me up because I took a break, right?
Mhm.
I should have kept my nose to the grindstone, as they say, and just kept working. Put my head down and keep working. But instead, I took a break, and that screwed me up. I should have just kept working, kept working, kept working. So now here I am, changed the direction that I'm going with my life, right, with education. Yeah, I do have different goals now. One of them, obviously, is with barbecue, right? It's kind of a not a different goal, but obviously to win something at state, win something at nationals. We have fantastic students that can produce fantastic food. We have a fantastic coaching staff there's no reason we have so much success around us. There's no reason our kids can't have that same success, you know. I think eventually I will probably want to move into like administration or like a assistant principal or something like that. But I don't know when that's going to happen. Uh, Maybe next year, maybe a couple years. I don't know. But I think I've had some years off. I've grown as an adult. I've grown as a person. I think it's time for me to set a new goal for myself. And so I'll probably look at trying to get a master's degree in the next couple years. I think that would be the next goal for me. So.
And you do say you are a father of three, and
Mm-hmm.
you are a husband. So,
Mm-hmm.
how has becoming a parent impacted you in your career and daily life?
Woo! Um. Okay. Being a parent is the most rewarding thing you will ever do in your life. Um, Whenever you love a person, right, like my spouse or whatever, you're like, oh, I'd do anything for you. I'd die for you. I'd catch a grenade for you. All that stuff.
Copyrighted.
Yeah, but sorry if you got to copyright that or bleep it out. I'm sorry. But anyway, it's whenever you have a child, it is a different kind of love. Like, having that love for your spouse, my wife, is one thing, but then to have the love for this child that you just brought into the world together, and you hear crying for the first time in the hospital. Oh my gosh, just nothing compares. Like the number one thing in my life, I could care less about the education and the barbecue. If my kids tell me that I was a good dad, and they're proud of me, like that's the goal, that's the job, right? And there's nothing anyone could say that would take away that, right? Having kids just changes your whole world perspective and everything that you do. Um, I mean, it impacts your daily decisions, right? And it impacts you as a person and who you are. You know, I'll say this: before I had kids, even married, you can be a very selfish person, right? Even if you're married, you're like, oh, it's about me. What do I want? What do I want to do? Or what do I want to buy or whatever, right? But then after having kids and raising up, a toddler, my oldest is 4 now. Oh my gosh, do you have to have patience? You know what I'm saying? Like, they tear something up or they do something wrong. Well, it's easy to lash out and yell and be like, oh, why'd you do that? But on the flip side, like, how does that sound to that little kid? Why is dad yelling at me? I was exploring, I was like trying to figure something out, that I've never done before, and dad's yelling at me for it. So, like, having children has changed who I am as a person. I am so much more patient and loving and caring. And honestly, like, people talk about, oh, you're never ready for kids. That is true. You're never ready for kids. I don't care how much money you got in bank account, how grown you think you are, like, you're never ready for kids. Kids humble you and take you down a notch, but again, they're the biggest blessing that you could possibly have in this life, and it changes everything. So now professionally, right? Let's talk about professionally with kids. Um I have to set boundaries and limits for myself, right? Because work, I can get a little obsessive, right? And I'm just like, work, work, work all the time, with barbecue or school or math or students or whatever, right? Um, but you have to set boundaries for yourself, right? My family is the number one boundary for me. I could care less about anything, and any parent will say this. Anyone here will say this. If my child says that they need me, right? Or my family needs me, I'm there. I'm not here. Period. I can replace all of this, right?
Yeah.
Because my family and my kids are the number one thing most important to me. Um, you know, Another thing, like with school and barbecue and stuff, I try not to work on Sundays. That's a family day, a religious day, right? I go to church, I've got responsibilities there and all that stuff. Um, so I don't work on Sundays. So if they ask me to do anything on Sunday, hey, we need you to come up to school, or we need you, hey, we're doing barbecue practice or whatever, that's fine. Y'all can do that. But I'm not, right? And
Mhm.
that's just being healthy and setting healthy limits for yourself. That's totally fine to have boundaries that you don't cross, right? Sundays are, we go to church, I'm with my family. You're not going to take that away from me. Period. That's my boundary. And it's okay to have healthy boundaries like that. But again, you know, having kids will change who you are to the core. So, I mean, I could sit here and talk for hours about my kids. But anyway, let's move to the next question.
What do you enjoy doing outside of school?
Oh boy. I'm an avid disc golfer. I'm just really good at throwing frisbees and discs. I'm a musician. I play guitar and mandolin and banjo and piano, and I tried fiddle one time. Fiddle's hard. Hey, do you know what the difference is between fiddle and violin? You know what the difference is between fiddle and violin?
What is it, Freeman?
A violin has strings, right?
Mm-hmm.
But a fiddle has strangs.
What?
Do you know that?
Okay, next question.
Yeah, anyway, all right, well, yeah, so I play disc golf, I'm a musician, I'm a dad. Oh, this year I've gotten into landscaping, not like gardening, because I don't really eat a lot of vegetables, but like flowers and stuff. I'm very, making things look pretty for my wife and my kids, who are at home. So I've gotten into landscaping, not gardening, landscaping. That's been a new hobby of mine, yeah.
Okay.
Mhm.
And you do say you play chess with this, so
Oh yeah, chess too. I forgot about that.
what
Yeah.
got you into playing chess, and when did you start?
Um, I don't know if I really got into anything. It wasn't Pedro, that's for sure. No. I don't know. I mean, I've always enjoyed chess. It's been fun. I've always tried to play with my brothers, but they are never really super interested. And so one day, a student I think did bring a chessboard last year, and so we played. And then everyone was like, oh, hey, let's play chess, let's play chess. And so I went to like HEB or Walmart, bought like the cheapest chess board. I still have it, right?
Yeah.
It's on my desk right now, but I bought like the cheapest chessboard I could and just put it on my desk. And it was just so interesting to see all the different kids that were interested in chess. Like I can remember this one student I had who graduated last year. He came in and just like wanted to put his head down and sleep every day, right? And not do anything and would just never like want to turn in a paper or nothing.
Mhm.
But when I put the chessboard on my desk, he goes, "Oh, you play chess?" And now he's awake every day in my classes watching us play chess, or whatever at the end of the period. And so yeah, it's been very interesting to see all the different students who are interested in chess and all the different ones who are very good and very bad at chess and even students who want to learn. It's been very interesting. So you look at La Vega High School and you're like, chess, oh, did any of the kids even know how to play chess? But yeah, we've got a lot of really good students here that are good at chess. I don't know why, but it's been really cool to see actually. So yeah.
What do you love most about chess?
I don't know. What am I, a nerd? I don't know. I love probably the mind games or the talking trash. That's a good one. Talking trash is great. I love talking trash. If you haven't figured out yet, um, I don't know. It just makes you think. Like, there's so many options, so many possibilities. Maybe that goes back to me like being a math teacher. There's so many opportunities, possibilities. There's probabilities and stuff. I mean, I don't know. It's just a very interesting game. It's become very popular, like on YouTube and Twitch and stuff.
Mhm.
Chess has become very popular um, in the past couple years. But I don't know. It's just been very interesting. At least at school, like I said, having seeing how many students are interested, involved in it, and played has been tons of fun. So I don't know. It's just been really cool.
And then you have been fishing, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. How how long have you been into fishing?
I'm not. I don't fish. That's racist. Yeah. Just because I'm white with a beard doesn't mean I fish all the time. Y'all are racist. Y'all are
Okay.
racist, dog. Yeah, I've been fishing with my dad when I was like 5 or 6. I just don't have time to go fishing. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I don't have time.
Okay.
No, go ahead. Ask the next
No, no,
question
no,
about
no.
the second question about fishing. Go ahead. Go ahead.
What inspired you to take up fishing?
I didn't.
So, so you play games. You play Rocket League, right?
Oh yes, I do play
Uh,
games.
I seen you play. You're trash. What got you into Rocket League?
Uh, so my buddy, we played Rocket League like when I was in high school, right? And I don't know, I really enjoy the game. It's grown a lot from where it was, professionally, people making careers, and now we have esports teams, right? Like we have
Yeah.
our esports team here and all across the U.S. and Rocket League is a big one. I really enjoy the flow of the game. I think it's very interesting. You do kind of have to have a sports mindset to it, but what's really cool about it is right, like the speed and the angles and the trajectory and hitting the ball and stuff like it's just really unique to me, I think. And again, maybe that goes back to the math thing and with geometry and the angle of the thing. But yeah, I don't know. It's just been really fun. I'm really good at it. I'm like top 5% in the world.
You're not that good, trust me.
I'm really good. I could probably beat
Yeah.
anyone here in a 1v1. So, yeah, I don't know. I'm positive, probably.
Sure.
Probably
Sure.
positive.
Hello?
Sure.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
And then and then you do enjoy music, correct?
Oh,
So
yeah.
why did you get into that?
So that's actually kind of like a family thing. I take after my mom's side of the family, which is kind of short, um, wider people. Broader, we'll use broader as a better
Broader.
term, yeah. Broader people. And they're all like everyone on her side of the family is like a musician. They have an ear for the music or they know how to play something, right? And my uncle Leslie, who is from Pecos, Texas, he works in a one chair barber shop.
Mhm.
And he's like one of the only barbers in the city. Um, Uncle Leslie, I can remember as a kid going to our family reunions, and he's playing guitar and playing mandolin or fiddle or whatever, right? And we're always playing like gospel music and gospel hymns, and stuff like that. Amazing Grace, all that old stuff. And so I remember as a kid loving it, and then I realized that I had an ear for music as well. Like I could hear something and I could start picking it out like on my guitar or whatever. And so for years and years, probably until I was like 20 or 21, I never really took it very seriously, at least the guitar. And then eventually something I was like, all right, you know what? I'm gonna figure it out now. I'm gonna learn chords. I'm gonna learn this, that, and the other. And so I took it seriously for a few months, and I mean that grew me to where I am now. I'm not saying I'm incredible or anything, but I'm decent now. I'm pretty good. But yeah, you kind of learn. You kind of learn your style. You learn what works for you, what's good, what's not. Like one thing about me is that like I don't really use picks, right? Like a lot of people use picks. I don't. I finger pick, right? I use these three fingers, and I'm strumming and playing, different chords. You should tell me I would brought my guitar. That would have been so much fun. Anyway, but yeah, you find out what works for you, what doesn't work for you, and I've developed my style, and that's what I like doing. I've taught some students up here as well. I've got my guitar in my classroom, and it's been cool also to see students who play and who are interested, and I'll play songs that they recognize and stuff like that. So yeah, I mean, music's a big part of who I am in my life. Eventually, I'll get my children into music and guitars as well. But that's next step in life. So
That's a wrap for today's episode of Pathways to Purpose. A special thanks again to Modak Media, our amazing student AV team. If you enjoyed this episode, make sure to subscribe, leave a review, and share it with your friends who are also on their own pathway to purpose. Thank you.